Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first item is the minutes of this committee's meeting held Monday, December 13th, for the recommendation to approve those minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
Any questions, errors, or omissions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item.
Next item is concerns the extension of infrastructure stimulus fund projects to October 31st, 2011. And the recommendation is before you. It's a resolution prepared that ends with, therefore be resolved that the City of Coquitlam attests that it will continue to contribute its share of required funding. Be it further resolved that the actual claims for all eligible costs incurred by March 31st for the aforementioned projects must be and will be submitted no later than April 15th. And further resolved that the City of Coquitlam will ensure that the projects will be completed. And two, that the Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to sign amended contribution agreements. We have an introduction by the General Manager of Engineering and Public Works.
Mr. Suzak.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chair. This is a standard resolution that is being processed throughout all municipalities across the country to meet the federal government's and respective provinces' requirements for getting an extension to the infrastructure stimulus funding projects. It's a very good news story. We do have an amendment, though, that we have to process. We got clarification just recently on the definition of one of the columns called total eligible cost. Everything remains the same, except we have different numbers based on what our confirmation of the definition of total eligible cost is. So that's really the only comment. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Suzak. Any questions? Mr. Lynch.
Didn't quite catch the rationale for how the numbers changed and what it means to us.
Right, I'll defer to Mark in a moment, but just very briefly, my recollection is that we initially thought that total eligible cost meant the actual grant monies, but government has confirmed that no, in their view, total eligible cost means the total project value. Okay. That's the fundamental difference.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Seeing no other questions?
Move the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
That's the last formal item on the agenda. I understand that there are some around the table items.
That's correct. Councillor Sikora.
Okay, number one, I got a call from a resident on Linton Grover. That's the area where a lot of employees from the mall, Coma Lake Mall Park, and I'll tell you, I went by there this morning and it's full of cars on either side of the street. It's not residential cars. It's anybody lives in that area, but it's people that are working in the mall. And congestion there is horrendous, and especially if you go there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Needs attention. I don't know what we're going to do, but frankly, I'm really disturbed of what's happening at that Coma Lake Village also. The fact is that, you know, their parking lot is a disaster. It's a very, very small parking spaces. To get in and out is a problem, and I understand that they only went through first phase of enlarging that mall or upgrading it. Now they got a second phase to go, and apparently they want to build a high-rise where the shelf service is. Now I'll tell you, we're going to have some huge problems in that area. So I'd like to see some comments made by the engineering department on what is it that we're going to do to try and improve, or what can we do for these people on Grover Street, 1800 block.
Mr. Suzak, please.
Sure. Through the chair, I saw an email late last week from a resident who had a concern about traffic operations in the Linton Grover
Yes.
Coma Lake area. I'm sure this is the very same issue.
Yes.
And it probably does relate to how that mall might be operating. I haven't had a chance to sit down with our traffic operations engineering staff and go over the issue. The intent is this week, sit down with them and start a process to look at what can be done. I can't give you a specific solution right now, but we need to get some staff time invested on what's going on with the city streets there, and if there is something that we can do, we will pursue that.
Second item is United Boulevard. I went through the other morning, and there about 9:15, 9:30. I had an appointment that should have taken me only about 5 minutes. It took me 3/4 of an hour to go about a half a block, a little better than half a block. It was totally tied up. United Boulevard was tied up totally. One lane of traffic only. And I did phone John Dumas, and he looked after it, and apparently the staff went down, and apparently the hydro BC Tel had dug some hole on the United Boulevard without a permit, and they were closed down. Now tell me, is there any fines levied on these kind of people?
Mr. Suzak, please.
I'm not aware of fines being levied against the utilities, or contractors for that matter. But as soon as we find out that contractors or who they're acting for are conducting operations that either have not been approved or not in accordance with the plan, we do take action. We shut them down. That's exactly what happened in this case.
Is there penalties? Is there any tickets issued?
I don't believe that there are tickets that apply.
Well, why wouldn't you? If you ticket everybody else, residents, they'll not take out a permit to build a carport or whatever it is. You ticket them. Why not some large firms?
Sure. Through the chair, it's an issue that we can look at. It's an impact to the community, and we are in the process at looking at social impacts of construction. We owe you a report, for example, on lessons that we've learned during the construction of Barnett Highway, et cetera. This would be, a subset of that kind of an issue, and we can look at monetary penalties.
Couple other items that we had that meeting with the Mayfair industrial people. They said the engineering department knew that these kind of things are going to happen United Boulevard. And you can't answer them properly because we don't know if they'll happen or wouldn't happen. But they said the staff knew about it. Why didn't they report it to us at that meeting?
Through the chair, in that case, we did not know about that it was going to happen. I mean, the work went ahead without our knowledge. But I have had quite a few calls from the businesses, and there's a lot of interest in things right now, even more so than, say, last year. And what we're going to do is our listserv that we have, we're going to make sure that that goes out on a regular basis, letting the businesses know what's next, what's scheduled along United Boulevard.
Now, why would we allow something like that to happen? Why can't they work after hours? Why can't they work at night to put, apparently what's happening, the BC or TELUS is going to be putting a cable through in there, all the way through United Boulevard, and to have, the bridge is being constructed with a problem on United Boulevard, and then we're allowing something like this to happen and tie up the whole of United Boulevard. And CKW was on the air saying, do not go to United Boulevard at all expenses. Stay away from it. Why are we allowing these firms to operate, to work in the daytime and tie up all the businesses?
I think, Councillor Sikora, the staff has mentioned twice now that they didn't allow this, that this contractor did it on its own. And there is as Mr. Suzak outlined, that there is a procedure and a plan in place for when they're to do works and do not work. So staff is not authorizing or allowing them to do this.
Okay. All I want to know now, will they allow them to work in the daytime and have any more of these kind of tie-ups, or are you going to have them working at nighttime?
Mr. Suzak.
Through the chair, it's a fair and legitimate point. We need to find out more details about this. For example, we do an awful lot of work on Lougheed Highway at night, precisely for the reason of impact to the traveling public. So please leave it with staff. We'll find out what's going on, and if we can resolve the situation by looking at the detail of when the contractor intends to do the work, we will get it done at night.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
If I could, Mr. Chair, just very briefly on the general issue of United Boulevard, just to let the committee know, it's just top of mind status. There was a meeting that occurred in November. A lot of action items came out of that meeting. Since that time, Improved signage has been installed, electronic signage has been installed, improvements have been made to Fawcett Avenue, that is the drainage improvements, and I believe that through Wayne Beggs we will be compiling a status memo of all of those actions broadly where we're at, and we'll give that to council as soon as we can.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suzak, and I guess this is the second time we've had a slip-up with the contractor blocking. We had one just prior to the meeting down there where the contractor didn't. So I think we have to get Kiewit's attention and have, because they're the main contractor and they're the ones that are responsible for making sure their subcontractor or their contractors follow the proper plan. So that would be the other thing, is to pull Kiewit in and make sure that they are on top of the plan. Thank you. That's it, Councillor Score?
Yes.
Okay. Next, Councillor Robinson.
Councillor Socorro raised the issue around United Boulevard, and I like the answers that I heard, so I'm done.
Okay. Councillor Reamer.
I was just going to clarify, because I was also contacted by a business about the closure of United Boulevard the other day. That was a private company. That was a water service that was being hooked up to a private business. That had nothing to do with Kiewit. So I just wanted to clarify that. And had they gone through the proper process, they would have filed a traffic management plan would have been issued, and it would have been done off-peak hours. So I just want to clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other items, no other items, the move for adjournment.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.